Welcome to The Coffee Grind with the Denton Chamber of Commerce, powered in part by Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Hello, Denton. My name is Travis Vaselka. I'm the Director of Membership Director of Marketing and Communication now for the Denton Chamber of Commerce. And with me, as always, is my trusty co-host.
Good morning, Denton. My name is Randi Skinner, and I serve on the Chamber Board of Directors. And as a member, I represent RS Consulting.
And we're here to keep you up to date with what's going on in the Denton business community. We're recording live from the DentonRadio.com studio inside of the Discover Denton Welcome Center on the historic downtown Denton Square.
Which they have their winter gear out, y'all. So if you've not been in lately, you need to come.
For real.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
The
inside the Welcome
softest
Center.
sweatshirt ever, I've heard.
Softest sweatshirt
It really is.
ever.
We did the finger test, and it passed.
Yes.
And so today, our special guest with us is Kristen Howell from
welcome.
Children's Advocacy Center for Denton County. And well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of intro that
Tell us about yourself.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm the CEO at the Advocacy Center. The Advocacy Center's been around for 21 years, and I've been there for 2 of those years. I've been a lifelong social worker, been in the field of social work for 25 years, have worked in domestic violence and child abuse, primarily also children's mental health for a while there. And so this is my dream, to be able to lead an agency and that is making such an incredible impact. The Advocacy Center response is hands down the coolest response that I've ever seen to one of our biggest social issues of the day. And so it is just an extraordinary honor. I'm actually from Dallas and had worked there for the past 20 years. And so the biggest risk, besides just doing a job that I wasn't totally sure I was going to be capable of, right?
Okay, yeah.
Was being a part of a new community. And Denton has been amazing. Denton County has totally welcomed me and been very active in our agency and has allowed me to be active in the community. And so it's been an extraordinary 2 years. So I'm super excited.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm a transplant, but I would say to other transplants out there, like, your home is here.
That's
So,
wonderful.
Yeah, you get it.
I do. I really do. Yeah.
You've
She's
gotten it so
drinking
well.
the Denton Kool-Aid.
For sure.
Well, and now as a member of Leadership Denton, so like I feel like once you graduate Leadership Denton, it's like you're officially like you got Dentonite blood in you, right?
Okay, I would say after the retreat, I got the blood. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I loved. So this is a year-long program that you go through, and the retreat is the weekend, with all strangers, and you're like,
the very
immersed.
first meeting of everyone.
Exactly. And so you're like, what do I expect? Is everyone going to hate me? Is this going to be boring? And, all the things. And you like leave and you're like so fired up, like 35 new friends.
Yes.
That I actually was like, these are going to be outstanding connections in this community. And and I say 35, but really, like, immediately I got immersed in the chamber. Immediately our advisors were so engaged. And so 35 is really more like 45. And so in a day to get 45 new friends, like, that's a good day at the office.
It's
a
really cool program. Yeah. So, I'm excited about our Austin trip is next week. So so we will have a wonderful time.
And this
getting
isn't
to
like, I'm assuming this is not, Austin, 6th Street. This is
behind
Capitol
the
Day.
scenes.
Yeah.
In fact, Chamber President Erica Pangburn had her hand in planning our entire trip.
Wow.
Along with the committee. So it is a lot of behind the scene things and some new things. So you'll just stop asking me questions. You'll just have to wait. You'll have to wait.
I want the inside scoop.
Yeah, you'll just have to wait and wait for everybody else too. But it's going to be awesome, and I'm really excited. But I think that you just really spoke to Denton just has the ability to pour in, and obviously CAC has seen that, and you've been really able to tap into that. So tell us a little bit more about what we can expect, like what's coming up with you guys over there at the Advocacy Center, and how can everybody get plugged in?
Sure.
Right. Well, I mean, and should I do any of like what is a Children's Advocacy Center? Because that's
Let's
always
start
one.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So a Children's Advocacy Center, there's actually 71 in the state of Texas, and most counties are covered by a Children's Children's Advocacy Center, their own dedicated one.
Okay.
And a Children's Advocacy Center coordinates the investigation and prosecution of severe child abuse cases. We essentially are the one-stop shop when a crime has happened against a kid. So what kind of crimes happened against kids? Well, mostly sexual abuse is the primary crime, but some physical abuse. And a lot of parents out there, and I'm one of those parents who's afraid of strangers around my kids. You have new baby, you're like, don't touch the baby. You've got to be watching baby all the time. But the truth is that the people who typically hurt kids are trusted caregivers, not
strangers.
They're not strangers.
They're
They're people that have gained access to our kids. So often, things that are the safest place for our kids, our faith community, our sports leagues, our schools, are places where these people go. Now, obviously, most of us have really great experiences in all of those safe kid places.
Sure.
But bad guys also go in those places. And so they commit crimes against kids, and that when a child makes an outcry of abuse is what we call. So they say, hey, this has been going on, whether it happened yesterday or if there's a delayed disclosure, which is what most cases are, that happened weeks, months, years ago, that kids come out and tell a parent or a teacher, a trusted adult, that this has happened. They would come to the Advocacy Center, and there the investigation goes on. And that investigation can take days or weeks or months. And then ultimately that can lead to prosecution. So that's one half of the equation. The other half is whether or not it goes to prosecution or not, you still may need counseling. You still need, as a family, to come together around how to support your kiddo. And so we also provide the mental health services and of this crime victims response, so that moms and dads and aunts and uncles and people who are involved in a kid's life can know how to really best equip their family to help a kid after something like this has happened.
Sure.
So it's one of the few nonprofits that exists that we're a local nonprofit run by this community, funded by this community. I always say insisted on by this community. So this community says this is how we should treat child victims.
Yes.
But we also we serve every kind of kid here. And so a lot of people think, well, gosh, if that happens to those kind of kids over there,
Right.
This is the type of place none of us want to go to, but we want it to be fully equipped if we ever did need to come here. And so for anybody. And so that's my job, is to help make sure that our community's response is exactly what we want it to be every time. So I'm super committed to that.
And
We're
so
grateful that we have the center, and really, I mean, it's just about creating an environment that's safe for those kids after someone they've trusted has made
Betrayed
a choice
the trust,
to betray the trust. So, tell us, there's a new facility, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can people come tour?
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Okay, so I would say we are the best kept secret in town. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, this type of crime is one
secret.
it's a secret crime.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it very much, except for the last few years. All of a sudden there's been this, like, what I would call the Great Awakening. This awakening has happened where lots of people are talking about this crime that's happened in Boy Scouts, U.S. Gymnastics team, Penn State, lots of different places have been affected by this crime. And so there's sort of this awareness that, like, this is going on.
Well, it's also, you can't ignore it anymore, right? Like when it's in mainstream media and it's like
every
folks
day
are bold enough and brave enough to come forward and do something about it, you can't ignore it.
I totally agree.
You can't.
I love that. And honestly, like, when the mom or dad in you or community member or whatever awakens, you're like, I wouldn't want that to happen. So I'm here for that kid, you know, so you're there. So that
giving them an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I was going to say something. Oh, I forgot it already, but about that. Anyway, I'll come back to it in a second if I think about it. So major awareness has been raised.
Yes.
The law actually changed 2 years ago. We have some fantastic legislators, especially from this area, who are very, very deeply committed to crimes against kids. And they've helped strengthen the laws that allow kids who may have had a crime committed against them, they're eligible for victim services. And so more kids have to come through an advocacy center because they just, the legislators feel like that's the best way for kids to get served, for families to be served, right?
Here's the path to follow.
Exactly, yes. And more kids should be able to be on that path. That's a great way to describe it. So our numbers have doubled in 2 years' time. Now, there's been a 50% increase in the number of cases statewide because of that law change. Denton County has seen a 70% increase in 2 years' time. I would argue that that's state law changes Me Too movement kind of stuff, and then also the growth in this county.
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of variables. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
there's so much growth here. This is a family community.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where family-based crimes happen. And these are the types of crimes that can happen. So we want to have a response that's grown. So we've actually, our board of directors saw a lot of that coming up. And so 5 years ago, engaged in a capital campaign to expand our Louisville office. We're halfway through that expansion, meaning we've fixed the new building, but then we have to go back and give a facelift to the old side of the building. So that facelift is going to be done in December. But meantime, we actually needed a north of the lake response that was stronger. And so we're so excited that 2 weeks ago we opened our Serve Denton location. So Serve Denton, I don't know, are y'all familiar with that? Have y'all talked about it on the show?
Yeah, we've had
Okay.
them on. I mean, I'm
Great.
pretty sure you can't live in Denton and not know
Right?
about
No,
Yeah,
right.
Denton. Yeah.
So I call it like a nonprofit mall, right?
Yes.
Oh,
And
that's
so-
a great way to
yes,
think of
and
it.
I
I
would
haven't
say-
heard of it described as a mall, but I like that.
Yeah. So there's lots of different nonprofits in there.
They're all housed in one location.
Yes.
Yep.
We're like the Nordstrom of them all. Okay.
Yeah.
So in all seriousness, so we're like the
Do you have a cafe? No, just-
exactly
You're anchoring
and a
the
makeup
space.
counter.
Well,
Yeah,
your
we're
office
yes.
looks beautiful, so
It is.
if you serve
I
coffee in there,
know,
we can call your
yes.
office the cafe.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm
I
with
love
you.
it,
I
yeah.
like it.
Well, and we have this big, giant, the brightest blue wall you've ever seen in your
Perfect.
Yeah.
history of the world. I call it Denton's newest landmark. So please know that
We
I'm
need-
hoping to
we need
contribute to the
selfies
It's an
landmark.
in front of us,
Instagram-worthy
yeah.
type of
Yes,
situation.
can I get
Love
a
it.
soft sweatshirt with my landmark on
Yes,
it?
yeah. Let's work on that.
So anyway, it's the coolest thing to be a part of this really innovative effort.
Yes.
One of the special things about that is we were going to have to turn around and do another capital campaign and raise money and 5 years out from now be able to build the building.
Right.
We got to skip all those steps.
It's the building's being built already.
The building's built. And like in a year's time, we actually had a pretty extraordinary lead gift that came in that allowed us to make the whole thing happen. So when you have a donor who says, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And we actually had that. The Razor family came in and said, let's just do it. And they gave us the primary funds. Now, as it turns out, there's other funds that are needed. I'm like, oh my gosh. To make the building exactly perfect.
Sure.
There's other funds that are
Well,
needed.
and for you guys, it has to be very specific because
Yes.
you've been doing this for 21 years. There's a specific way the rooms need to look, things need to flow for the folks that are coming in and out for the kids.
You are exactly right.
So you can't
gotta
just
be,
go in and build some
no,
walls.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's got to be child friendly.
Yep.
It's got to be secure. We have special spaces for kids that, little bitties to have childcare so that
Right.
if they came on, their mom could actually talk to a detective without worrying about a kid distracting them. They could actually focus on that. We've got special forensic interview rooms that have state-of-the-art camera equipment. That camera equipment allows us to collect the victim's statement that's used for court.
Right.
Now, it's not. Some people say it's used in lieu of court. It's not. Kids still have to testify, but it is.
This captures details
Exactly.
that need to
yes.
be captured.
Yeah. So it's a really special place. Anyway, we're 2 weeks in. Last week is our first fully operational week. The other thing that Denton County's never had at our advocacy center, or hasn't had since the very, very beginning, is co-location with law enforcement. So
right.
Denton Police Department's child abuse team and the sheriff's department are going to both be there. Sheriff's moving in the next few weeks.
They'll each have an office inside.
Exactly, with like dedicated child abuse detectives. So, and both of those departments have just recently added more staff, more in their child abuse units. Same with the DAs; they just added another child abuse prosecutor. So it's all that. I'm really proud of this county for stepping up.
Sure,
Fantastic.
yes.
It's the best kept secret in town.
It really is.
It is this extraordinary response, and all these folks are in on doing it right.
Sure.
And I've been so overwhelmed and proud of our sheriff and Chief Dixon and the county commissioners.
Right.
And I mean, there's a lot of people who have to make this
Find
crime,
consensus.
yes,
Sure.
yes, and prioritize kids, and they just do it. They do it in this county. The data proved it up that we were ready for it, and they put their
They've
money where their
stepped
mouth
up,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
fantastic.
I love it, and it makes me super proud to work in a
Yes.
community that just wants to do the right thing by kids.
And what would you say to somebody who says, "Well, we've got CASA. Like, what is?
Oh, yeah.
Why
What's
isn't
the
that good
difference?
enough? What's
Yeah.
the difference?"
Yeah. Okay, so CASA and CAC, Children's Advocacy Centers, those are like the big, people say, what is the difference in those all the time? That's the big confusion. Completely different agencies, but actually have a lot of similarities. So CASA is Court-Appointed Special Advocate, and both of us and Children's Advocacy Centers are CACs. So same letters, child abuse, but at different points in the continuum. No duplication in services, although overlap in some clients.
Okay.
So I want to walk you through a little bit. Children's advocacy centers serve in the criminal justice system, and CASA is in the civil side. Okay, so that's the easiest. Different
Sure.
courts.
Right.
Children's Advocacy Center is a place where kids go and get all their services in one place. A CASA is a single person assigned to a kid, no matter where they go. So they may go to foster care in San Antonio and then Galveston and then back to Denton County, and their CASA that's assigned out of their courtroom here will follow them anywhere they go. Stays with them.
Yep.
So they dedicate a person to that kiddo. Ours is a one-stop place where any kid in this county that needs, that makes an outcry of abuse, this is the only place they go. So it's, they're literally such different responses.
Right.
But
They're
both
collaborative with each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We work really closely with each other. Both of them are defined in the Texas Family Code. So it's actually the law that counties have this response and that kids have this place to go. And it's because, our legislators did an outstanding job of saying kids should be prioritized differently. And so every kid deserves these two types of responses.
Sure.
So they're both crucial to the community. Both of them, I think, again, are the voice of the community doing right by kids. So these are private, confidential cases. You'd want that in your family if that was yours. But at the same time, you also want to know, like, so is somebody watching this? Is somebody keeping an eye on this? Is somebody holding folks accountable? Is somebody insisting on excellence? That's both of our jobs, is to insist on excellence for kids who are in these two difficult systems that are really hard to navigate.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So if someone wanted to get involved with CAC, other than coming to the ribbon cutting, which
we were going to say we have some events. I forgot about that already.
How else could we get involved?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of ways. One, you can definitely tour. I forgot Randy's question earlier. Can you tour the Children's Advocacy Center? You can tour it. You do need to call ahead. And
don't just show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff brewing every day.
Privacy.
Right. But we do, we tour a lot of folks through because people want to know what's happening. And again, this is your community, so you get to know about it. So we're definitely open for tours. We're definitely open for tours if you promise to volunteer or if you promise to fund.
By the time that you make it through the tour, I doubt you're going to be able to say no to volunteering.
Please volunteer.
There's someone at the end with a list. They're like, which one do you want to
So
sign
now
up
make your
for?
selection.
Yeah, how could you say no? It's probably a kid too. They're like,
Right.
which one? No, just kidding.
With their little eyes.
Right.
looking at you.
Which one are you going to sign up for? I think you should have that on like a screen at the end of the tour.
I love it.
It's just one of the kids. It's like, hey,
You ought to get involved. I never thought I would need it either, but we got to have it. So
That's
so you
fantastic.
can definitely do that.
Yeah.
We rely on the community to provide volunteer hours.
yes.
Sure.
To do donation drives. We were just talking today, the number of kids that have come through our doors in 2 weeks has already blown our snack budget for the month.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
we need snacks when kids walk in. They want animal crackers and
Sure.
Chex Mix and
Yep.
goldfish and the stuff that kids want when they're there for a 5 o'clock counseling visit or
Yeah.
their forensic
Juice
interview.
boxes and
Exactly.
waters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so those, whether you do a donation drive or, have your Sunday school class or whatever, do a collection like that, that kind of volunteer work helps us. But we also have folks who provide, who sit at our front desk and welcome kids to come in when our front desk staff is in meetings or goes to lunch.
Otherwise engaged.
Exactly. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. You can certainly write a check.
Always.
Always
Never
the
gonna
number
say no
one,
to that.
right? Like $5, $500, $500,000. We'll take all of them.
Yeah.
It's the community's way of saying we support kids when something bad's happened to them. So.
And so, like we mentioned earlier, there's a ribbon cutting that's going to be coming
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
And, we'll go over
We'll
it
tell
a
you the
second time
details.
again.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
we
What
can certainly
else?
talk about it now.
Well, there's two other things I feel like you mentioned.
Well,
right?
we had said, okay, so October 16th is our breakfast, our
Yes.
Champions Children breakfast. This is going to be at UNT.
How many people do y'all normally have? I mean,
We have
this
about
is a
400.
huge
Yeah,
event.
400
Yeah.
folks. It's a quick, relatively quick breakfast. be able to convey information and
Sure.
get you on out to do your day of working, because we needed to pay for the funds that you just donated. Go earn the bucks. That breakfast is coming. Our featured speaker is a guy named Kevin Mulcahy. He's assistant U.S. attorney, and he is spent his life prosecuting child abuse cases, but he was also a victim through his YMCA, the kids group that he was involved with. He had a coach that acted as a mentor, and then who ended up acting as an abuser. So it's a story that is super compelling. It is. He is just a really, really neat guy, and he's spent his life paying it forward on trying to make sure that kids have access to the resources to be able to stop the people who hurt them.
That's a great advocate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he'll
What
be
a great
fantastic.
keynote
There's
to have.
probably a couple spots left. The truth
Okay.
is, you need to call today
Right.
if you're wanting to sponsor. You can always call and sponsor. Actually, let me just make an
They'll
exception.
pull up an extra table if
Exactly.
you're wanting to sponsor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
the
tickets are still
tickets are gonna sell
available.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've got a couple more. I bet they could make something work. But it'll be a really special day. But put it on your calendar for this year and every year going forward. It's a great day to really kind of dive deep into the cause and understand it a little better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have, what was it? Is there another one?
Well, the next day was the ribbon cutting.
Right.
Then
That's on the
okay.
17th.
So then we have
It's a busy week for
it is.
y'all.
Oh my gosh! Right. Hello, Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is
love this
Easton.
person.
She is definitely an advocate
Yeah.
for
She is.
child abuse awareness and prevention.
Yes,
So
look at her.
She wanted
is
to
so
come
perfect.
and support.
She's our favorite fan.
Yes.
She is the cutest person I've ever laid eyes
Thank
on.
you.
And her mom posts like the cutest pictures ever on Facebook, and so I'm a little obsessed with her. I'm like,
She wanted to come say hi.
I'm so glad
she's
to know her
here.
in real life.
Yes. Okay, so
okay.
we can
So,
go
yeah.
to the ribbon cutting. We can go to the breakfast.
Yeah, so the
and
ribbon
then-
cutting. So we've got breakfast on the 16th, ribbon
Yes.
cutting on the 17th.
Yep.
Friday is the Women in Commerce.
Friday.
Yes.
Women in
Oh,
Commerce
that's
Fall
this
Ribbon.
Friday
The
before.
fourth,
The 4th,
yeah.
thank you. Okay.
Which you are going to be a panelist
I am
speaker.
going to be a panelist for putting together teams. I oversee what's called the multidisciplinary team, the child abuse multidisciplinary team. Big picture, I don't actually, I make sure the people who are on it would be like, really?
Right.
Right.
She does that too? No. I have an amazing team who
Yes.
really makes that happen. But
Right. But you got to keep your team on target.
Yeah.
You got to make sure they
Well,
have what they
we're-
need.
That's exactly right. And honestly, we are the community agency among government agencies. So we don't have any authority over those folks, but we're part of the community saying, hey, let's step up. Let's make sure we followed every kid all the way through. Let's make sure we're all in agreement on the plan here.
Right.
So our job is to coordinate all those cases from the beginning to the end. And so I run that team there's probably 150, 200 child abuse professionals in Denton County. And then I have a team of about 50 staff members who are dedicated to this as well. So a whole lot of professionals
Takes
in this
a lot
area.
of
Yes.
people to make these make
So it's
this
no
work.
wonder that you're going to be a speaker at
Right.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So that's that. And then I'm going to teach a class, UNT's Ollie. They're, I wish I remembered what the
I don't remember what it
older
stands for.
adult learning
Learning.
something.
Yep.
But my very dear friend Stephanie Rinke, who's on our board, is over that program.
Oh, cool.
And so she felt like there was some that folks were interested in learning about trends in child abuse, and so I'm teaching a
Yes.
class on trends in child abuse on next Tuesday,
so
the
Sometime soon.
like the 15th,
And then when
Or
is
the-
I feel like the last
8th.
event,
the 8th, October
Awesome.
8th.
the last event that
happening
you
in
had
my life?
mentioned, it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Stephanie, she'll be there.
I'll be there. It's
like
It's on our, it's on
don't
our
even. I
calendar. It's
hate. I
fine.
hate that when someone's like, "Oh, are we meeting?" You're like, "When? What are you talking about?"
I bet I'll be
They're
there.
like, "Next week for this." I'm like, "It's next week. I'm not there yet. It's Tuesday or
Everywhere at
Wednesday."
once, right,
Yeah,
Easton?
yeah.
I got to
So-
get through tomorrow
Right?
first.
And then I feel like there was one other. Y'all have a big gala, right?
Yeah, so our gala is in April.
Okay, so there's
So,
still
yes,
time.
there is,
for
yeah.
people to volunteer for that.
For sure. Thank you. We're putting together the
Ah.
committee now, getting those fun auction items. We just posted our first one yesterday. Some
Ooh.
Kenny Chesney's front row tickets or
Hello.
something.
I
know,
Very
right?
nice.
All right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear that front row at Kenny Chesney is an experience.
Oh, really?
Yes. I've had a few friends that have gone. I think my mom went too.
really?
I think, yeah. So it should be, that should be a good one.
I know, right?
She's got a nice life, like to be having that experience.
Oh
right,
yeah. Every once in a while, they'll do a big concert. You know,
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is where she was excited because she learned her and her friends learned about gummy bears soaked in vodka.
Oh boy!
So you could do that at the Kenny Chesney concert. So
As an adult to learn
As
that,
an adult.
As an
I feel
adult,
like wow.
adult.
Okay,
Okay,
safe,
so
children.
that's well. Hopefully, you're not going to bring your children to the front row of Kenny
Exactly,
Chesney.
right.
I mean, like
Indeed.
maybe you will, but I feel like that's like a fun adult night out. Like
It's going to be it's
I'm
6
just
tickets, so
saying.
it's definitely
yeah,
an adult night
but
out.
you're
Yeah,
going to bring
yeah,
like
yeah.
your 12-year-old birthday
Right.
party. No, invite me. Come on.
Right,
Like,
exactly. If you need some fun adult friends.
Adult friends. We'll all
Exactly,
three go.
yeah, exactly.
We'll all three go.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can still sign
So
up
there's
to
lots of sponsorship
volunteers.
opportunities, tickets available for that. Lots of ways to
Tickets,
get
yeah.
engaged.
Where's it
with
going to
that.
be at?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
at Texas Motor Speedway in April.
Oh, I love
Awesome.
that venue.
That's a great
Yeah.
venue.
It is. We moved it there last year after a lot of years at Circle R, and so have a lot of good
Yeah.
memories at Circle R as well. They were really good to us, but did a little mix it up, and it was so fun. And
Yeah.
so you know,
That's a fun venue, especially at night. The view
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
If,
It's
that's
nice to
just
keep
worth
things
it
fresh.
to go.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So thank you very much for sharing all of those details. If there's anything that we haven't touched on and you remember a little bit later, we can absolutely
Yes,
Okay.
talk
chime
about
in.
that.
Okay.
Chime in.
But don't go anywhere. We're going to go through some upcoming events from the business community.
Yes.
And I'll talk about this one because you did this last time. But
Okay.
Randi, our very own Randi, is going to be hosting a getting leads from social media and actually closing them. And this is
A workshop.
a workshop, thank
Yes.
you. And it'll be over at Stoke on Friday, October 4th. This is after the Wink Luncheon,
Yes.
starting at 3 o'clock. And it'll be over at Stoke for just a very small fee of $50. And you can learn all that you need to know from our expert on
Thank
getting
you.
these things accomplished. So,
That's
yeah,
true.
getting leads from social media and actually closing them.
Then we have Earhart Jewelers is celebrating their 45th anniversary, and they're going to be doing a ribbon cutting October 4th, which is also Friday at 4 o'clock, and it's off of South I-35, and so head over there. That'll be fun. So if you have if you need to get a gift for someone for birthday or
Oh, yeah.
even plan a really good Christmas gift, you could pop over there and just kill two birds with one stone. Do the ribbon cutting.
And then we have another ribbon cutting on Monday, October 7th. This is for Steve's Wine Bar. You know, they've
I
relocated.
guess we'll go help them ribbon cut.
If I must drink
I
a little
must.
wine.
Steve and Karen will be there.
So if you're not familiar, they've relocated. They were on Hickory Street. Now they've turned onto Industrial Street. They took over
Seniors in Motion, right?
that old spot there. And so this is really cool.
And they have, I love at their new space. First of all, if you went to the old space, it's so much bigger.
Yeah.
And they have a front and a back entry. So they have the entry on Industrial and what's the little mini side street in
I
between?
can't recall. Is it Oakland or?
Yeah, I don't remember
I
the
don't
name of
remember.
it, but it's so cool. I love that they're doing that like some of the other businesses. So then we have our business networking luncheon Friday, October 11th. Kids are not invited to that. No, just kidding. You can
She's
go
like,
if you want.
I would like some headphones
yes,
and
Right.
an earring,
she,
please.
she has some headphones. I might have to bring them next time. So Friday, October 11th at 11:30. So we're going to go over to Spring Hill Suites by Marriott, and we will have who's the speaker for this one? It's the
It's through the city of
SurePoint,
Denton.
the SurePoint Emergency Center.
They
Is
are
that
our
right?
sponsor.
They're our sponsor. I'm looking for the speaker, but I'm not finding it. Tell me.
The topic is going to be the Green Business Program. It's a sustainable
there
green
you go.
program from the city of Denton. And it'll be the coordinator for that program who comes in to speak about it. But the sponsor is going to be SurePoint Emergency Center. And so they'll have 5 minutes or so to kind of,
Give a shout out.
talk
to
about
they
what
do.
SurePoint does and why they're important. Instead of going to the emergency room at the hospital, you can go to
You
this
can go
place
here
instead. Upcoming event on October 11th. If you're familiar with Peterbilt being a huge economic driver in our community, they have an annual parade called the Pride and Class Parade. And this is where...
Such a noisy parade.
It is, yeah. But they have all of their big rigs that come downtown, and they go right around the square, and it's like different drivers who've improved their trucks or decorated their trucks and make them into really beautiful pieces of machinery. If I'm describing that correctly, but that's a big deal between Peterbilt and I believe United Way of Denton County. So all of that is a good support for the.
Kids love that event.
They do.
I remember the first year. This was 5 years ago. Aaron and I lived on the square, and it was the first year, 5 or 6 years ago, the first year we lived on the square, and I did not get the memo that was happening, and so I was like, Aaron, what's happening outside?
All these coming by.
And then, of course, in this day and age, you can just Google it, right? You're like, trucks, downtown Denton. You're like, this makes way more sense. I'm like, evacuate. What? Jump on one.
And they're all honking horns and stuff.
Horns. I mean, it was pretty funny. Then we have Zoe's Kitchen, which is delicious. They opened up over kind of by the Razor Ranch area, and they're having their ribbon cutting October 14th. And they're going to do theirs around lunchtime. So just before lunch at 10:45 a.m. to 11:15. And I love Zoe's because they have some of the food that's already ready to go.
Yeah.
So that day, just your lunch will be covered. You can just run in there and grab something on your way to work.
Wednesday, October 16th, starting at 11:30
Such
to
a Titanic move.
She's really wanting those headphones.
She's really got her own ideas today, don't you? We're talkative. Yeah.
Wednesday, October 16th, starting at 11:30, we have our Denton County Legislative Delegation Luncheon. This is a follow-up from Denton County Days earlier this year when the Texas Legislature meets on that every other year schedule.
Every 2 years, yeah.
So this year we're doing our follow-up with them over at the Hub Club level at UNT Apogee Stadium, and their tickets are available, tables are available, and this is a multi-chamber coordinated event, so it's not just Denton Chamber, it's Flower Mound, Louisville, and basically all these other county entities, but our legislators are going to be in town to talk about the progress on some of their legislation.
Then we have our October membership mixer, which our membership mixers are one of the bigger events with the chamber. This is going to be October 17th. It is one I look forward to every year at Classic. They are also doing their chili cook-off. So you can head over there to Classic. There'll be live music, food, not just chili, but then there also will be the chili tasting.
There will be that.
Love that one.
And that takes us about 2 weeks into the future, and I think that's decent enough.
Okay, we'll tell you about more events next week.
For
the ribbon cutting.
Yes. Where did I put that?
The Children's Advocacy Center ribbon cutting over at the Serve Denton Center is happening on the
October 17th.
17th.
Yes.
And this is one where you don't have to call before.
That's right. Yeah.
This is your opportunity to come tour and see the blue wall.
That's right.
And learn more about all of the remodeling and just really all the collaboration. And Are you excited? Easton is very excited.
Easton, come see it.
On behalf of all children, she is very excited. So
and that's at 9 a.m.
Okay,
yes,
so 9 a.m.
Yeah, we'll have.
It's an early morning one, so you can come and stop by and then still kind of have the rest of your.
Exactly, I love it. Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, we love to ask our guests the prepared fun question. And so we did prepare you today.
Yes, or at least we think we did. We'll find out.
The questions that you can choose from. What's your first job?
Okay.
What's your favorite way of dentoning? Or what podcast or book are you reading, listening to at the moment that you'd like to share?
Okay. So I'm going to do the podcast. I drive every day from Dallas. So I have lots of time. I call my mom. I get a lot of stuff done. If you get a phone call from me in the morning, it's because that's when I'm I'm
we
hopping.
should catch you,
exactly.
is what you're saying.
Very efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
or
it.
else I'm listening to either podcasts or books on tape. Right now, I'm listening to Dare to Lead, Brene Brown.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
love
so good.
Brene Brown.
Yes. But I was telling them that I have been in a book club for 21 years. And
it's like
so
hardcore, though,
it is
from what
so
you're
hardcore.
saying.
Like we have very
Yes.
strict rules.
Yeah.
If you ever need to have a book club class, I can tell you how to run a very effective class, a very effective book club. We do have rules like you must show up. You don't have to have read the book. You do have to have a formal invitation.
Oh, wow.
We've actually kicked some people out
Uh-huh.
for lack of goodness of fit. You can have dissenting opinions, but you have to be a good fit.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I mean,
like
it's your
it.
people.
love
And tell,
this.
yeah, do you mind sharing the name? Because I really love the name.
It's Reading Between the Wines.
Yes.
I love it.
So there's a
It's like
little
the
bit of
best
wine.
book club name ever.
We have a logo, and
Y'all
every
are
year
legitimate.
we're
so
super legit.
official.
We
You said
really
21 years.
21 years. We
My
take an
gosh.
annual vacation together every year with
Stop
everybody.
it. Oh my
We
gosh.
do,
Travis
like-
is like, "Where's my invite?"
I would like a formal invitation.
We do. We have like book club trivia, so we can.
That's so
all
fun.
sorts
Yeah,
of
I don't know if
things,
you know this about me, but I have access to fine wines.
He really does, actually. He
awesome.
knows all the best wines.
I'm a well-read person.
Yeah, the biggest smile. She's in before you. Sorry.
I get it. I get it. No, I get it.
so
I
Oh,
get
you've got an invite waiting for you.
it. That's awesome.
That's
Just
so
the
fun.
fact that you can have this organization of people who are linked by this thing for 21 years, I think that's a real good testament to just like.
You know,
You know.
the coolest conversations come up from books, honestly.
Oh, yes.
You learn so much about people's hearts, their values, the things that scare them.
New and different ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's such a different relationship than maybe the people who are in your day-to-day work life or your peers that are at your same level, parenting-wise or
Right.
whatever. It's just it's a totally different group of friends that has a real depth to what we know
Yeah.
about each other
And have
you know.
conversations about them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we have really different points of view on things, and that's okay because books bring you together around
right.
common characters that you love, even if you saw it differently. Or
Oh, gosh, yes.
You know, so it's one of my favorite things. And our list of books after 21 years
I bet it's
is super cool. So if
amazing.
you need any good book recommendations, I've got a few.
I love
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with
Yeah,
us.
thank
That's
you very
awesome.
much. And with that, we'll wrap this up. So,
Yes.
thank you, Kristen, for being here.
Thank
Thanks
y'all
for being
for
a
letting
guest.
me. Yes.
Yeah.
And
glad
thank you
to have you
to DentonRadio.com for their assistance in producing this show.
on. Always.
And you can follow and friend us on social media. You can find us online at www.denton-chamber.org. And
Download our podcast
off of
via.
many
Is this
of
what
the
I can be
podcast
listening
services.
to?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can listen to us.
I want to say it next
That'd
time.
be
My favorite
amazing.
podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can find us on any of the podcasting
Yeah.
services. And remember to tune in Wednesdays at around
10-ish. See you next week.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.